Do you ever feel doubt or worry or uncertainty? Do you ever feel inadequate or have fear? And how often when you have those feelings do you try to move around them or avoid it or dismiss it altogether? Because it's unpleasant, right? Those feelings, they're typically not great, icky. Well, I'm here today to suggest that really you should do the exact opposite of that you should embrace discomfort. You should welcome discomfort. Seek it out. Look for it. Because in that, you're going to find a lot of power. So let me start off by telling you a story about myself. I have dyslexia. I mess up the side of the line to put the bubble on the B and the D, and letters and numbers sometimes don't look right to me. And I'm colorblind. And when I was a little boy, I had a hard time learning to read and couldn't learn my colors very well. Surprise. And so they put me in the slow reader class. And so I grew up feeling like that I really wasn't very good at learning. I didn't think I was dumb, but I didn't think I was very academic, that I just wasn't good at school and good at learning. Okay, so fast forward till now, and if someone were to ask my mom to describe me, she would beam with pride and say that he graduated summa cum laude with a degree in philosophy, that he's an attorney, he whizzed through law school, and he's the chief technology officer at one of the fastest growing venture-backed software companies in the country. So I give you that little context to do a couple things. Turns out I can learn. I can figure some things out. And also, just to kind of set up this next piece of the story. So about 6 months ago, I was in a meeting. We were having an executive session at my office, and we're trying to solve a problem. And a couple of the guys with me, they said, well, let's whiteboard it. Let's get up on the whiteboard and try to work this out, figure it out. And something really interesting happened. I felt fear. I felt a very odd feeling, that sinking feeling. Sometimes it's that feeling you get before you're about to walk out on stage and do a public address, right? So everybody knows what I'm talking about, okay? It's icky, right? It's uncomfortable. And I thought, what in the heck is that? Where is that coming from? I mean, I've spoken in front of people tons of times. I enjoy it, actually. So later that day, I was in my office, and I was reflecting back on what happened, and I started really analyzing it, unpacking it, and asking myself questions, walking myself through it, giving myself some self-talk. And I learned two really important things about myself that day. I was afraid to look dumb in front of my peers by writing on the whiteboard because I'm a bad speller and I have poor penmanship. And man, I do. Yeah. But I've never needed to worry about it. I've had a paralegal or a assistant or spell check, right, to help out. And I can type like 100 words a minute, and so my penmanship, doesn't matter too much to me. But I didn't want to look dumb in front of the people I work with, my friends. And so learning that about myself really, it helped me see that, man, there's some things that I'm really uncomfortable with that I'm not even noticing. And so how many of us have those types of feelings or worries or concerns or insecurities that hold us back? Because as I walked through thinking about this more, I realized that in my adult life, I had never used a whiteboard or a chalkboard or a tool like that to really illustrate my point or work out a problem or become more effective. I was holding myself back. So let me tell you another story. About 2 months ago, here in Fargo, I gave a speech for a conference, in fact, right here on the stage. And a couple weeks before the event coordinator called me up and said, Mark, you play guitar, and there's a great local band, D. Mill and the Thrills. And they're doing an after party. Yeah, Diane Miller. Yeah, she's awesome. and there's an after party after the event, and they're going to be playing. Would you like to sit in and play a couple songs with them? And I said, yeah, sounds fun. Send the songs over, and I'll learn them, and we should be good to go. All right? So, all right, I graduated high school in 1988. So I had the long, heavy metal hair, right? And I am a metal head, big time, right? So my bands are Motley Crue, Judas Priest, Ozzy, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Rat, all of the Poison, just all that 80s hair metal. That is the best kind of music in my world, my generation, really. And so you can imagine my surprise when I get the email with these two songs, and the first one was What a Man by In Vogue and Salt and Pepper, right? It totally a hip-hop song. In fact, I had to get my headphones on and listen real carefully to see if there's any guitar in it. And then the second song was by an artist named Erykah Badu. Here's Erykah right here. Okay, amazing talent. But I had up until then I hadn't even ever heard of her, and she is like a funky, jazzy, hip-hoppy, fused together type of an artist. And okay, here's the kicker. The song from Erykah Badu that I needed to learn was called Annie Don't Wear No Panties. Well, so I'm a metal guitar player, and what do I do with Erykah Badu's Annie Don't Wear No Panties? So far out of my musical comfort zone. Completely different than anything I've ever done before. So guess what happened? I thought about backing out. And right then, all these great excuses started flowing in. Man, you have to speak at the conference. Your job's going forward anyway. You got to do that in between everything. You're going to be having these meetups with meeting people all during the couple days you're here. And I stopped myself. I recognized all that was happening, and I had a little self-talk with myself, and I said, no, I'm going to push through that. I'm going to do this. It is outside my comfort zone, but I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm going to turn that fear around of perhaps looking dumb because that's not the type of guitar that I play. And man, am I glad that I did. So totally glad, because here's a picture of us just down the street here on the roof of a building in downtown Fargo, playing at the after party, and it was a total blast. With these amazing musicians in D. Milne Thrills, the band, and I'm so happy that I pushed through that discomfort and played at that after party. It was a ton of fun, and I grew. Okay, there's two reasons why you should welcome discomfort. First, be disruptive, and second, to multiply. So, to be disruptive, what am I really talking about here? This is really the idea of disrupting yourself, disrupting your thought patterns, your existing fixed beliefs that you have just created over the years. For me, when I was a kid, the fixed belief that I wasn't a very good learner, and I spelled poorly, and I had poor handwriting, and we all have them, right? But you can disrupt them, and the way you do it is you notice it. You have a little ego voice in your head, we all do, and it's telling you to stay safe. And really, the ego, we shouldn't try to avoid it or dismiss it or suppress it, because you can't. And it's really just trying to take care of you. I mean, that's kind of caring, right? It just wants to keep you safe and not look dumb or make a mistake or something like that. But have a little talk with it. And so here's my self-talk. Mark, you know what? Yeah, that's not your typical genre of music. But go outside your comfort zone, stretch yourself a little bit, and grow. That's the little self-talk that I had with myself. And I pushed through the discomfort and went forward. So disrupt your existing patterns of thought. Okay, Sun Tzu had this figured out a long time ago. He has great advice in The Art of War. He says, stay in the present moment. Observe your feelings, but do not become your feelings. Just be aware of them. Do not take on others' feelings, but listen to others and listen to yourself. And then here's the little self-talk that he was getting at. Ask yourself, how should I handle this? Should I even react at all? So you can intercept these little voices, and you can turn them around and change them. You have that power. Okay, so when I talk about multiply, really I'm talking about multiplying your reach, your capacity, your impact, and the meaning that you're putting into the world. When you push through discomfort, when you welcome it, when you say, bring it on, then you're growing. Every time you step out of your comfort zone a little bit, you're growing a little bit, and that makes you better and stronger and faster, and multiplies you and all those around you that you interact with, and therefore the world eventually. So welcome discomfort because you multiply. So, here we go. Let me suggest 3 ways to overcome the resistance, because we all have it, the resistance to just not deal with it. So the first thing, all right, I love Yoda. I really do. In fact, like when I walk up to the supermarket with the automatically opening doors, right? So I have 4 daughters, and they love it when I do this. So I walk up to the door, and I go like this, and the doors open automatically. Because I do a force push, and that's why they open. And so my daughters roll their eyes, and they say, Dad, you don't have the force. And I say, yes, youngling, I do. And then they, of course, correctly say, Dad, that only works on the weak-minded. And not us. And so I have a lot of fun with that. But Yoda has a great quote. Named your fear must be, before banish it you can. You have to identify your fears, anxieties, and challenges. This is the first step, is just to tune in. Really start to dial in your self-awareness. Take that to a whole nother level. Just notice things that are uncomfortable or feel icky to you, that feeling. Maybe write it down to start dialing that in and getting into the practice and the habit and the rhythm of noticing. That's the first step, is just to be aware. Okay, the second thing is to say yes. Sounds easy, but just do it. So once you notice something is giving you some icky feeling, some discomfort, welcome it and just turn it around and say yes. Just do it. Like I did playing in Diane's band. Just push through it. Because all of these little wins, they're magnets for more wins. The more things you can turn around and that you can start adding up and pushing through discomfort and conquering little fears, eventually you're conquering big fears and accomplishing huge things. These are all cumulative. So just say yes. A good way to start tuning into saying yes is understand what you're saying no to. And a close counterfeit of saying no is what you're procrastinating. Because in a way, you're kind of saying no to that too. And so what discomfort or icky feeling do you have with your things you're putting off? Tune into that too, because you can find some gems there. Okay, and then lastly, embrace uncertainty. It's okay to not know how things are going to turn out. That's totally fine. Bring it on. Welcome that discomfort and embrace it. Turn around the energy and the meaning that you're giving to things that you might think are uncomfortable or feel icky. You can actually start to have some fun with it. And when you practice this and you get going at it, you find another one. It's like, oh, cool. There's another one that I can crack open and tackle and figure out and become better and multiply myself and get stronger. Okay, here's the key. We all have these feelings, every one of us. Insecurity, fear, inadequacy. Right? Well, by not embracing it, you are living what I call a default life. By not welcoming discomfort, you're just living a default life. It's happening to you. On the other hand, by welcoming discomfort, looking for it, seeking it out, you're making things happen. You're being proactive. You're making your life happen. So just think, do you want to have life happen to you, or do you want to make your life happen? That little voice, it is not as important as you think. It just isn't. Reality is always so much more gentle than our perception of reality. Reality is always so much more gentle than our perception of reality. You remember my story of writing on a whiteboard? Well, after I figured that out and had those learnings about myself, I went and told my colleagues. And here's what they did. They're like, really? You actually don't write that bad, and I've never noticed that you didn't spell very well. the reality, of course they tease me a lot because we're buddies and everything, but really the reality was so much more gentle than my perception of how that might have felt if I looked dumb to my friends. These people I look up to hugely that I work with. So, okay, let me shift gears for a second. I'm going to ask you some questions. And as I do, and as I have you think through answering these in your mind, I want you to tune in to how you feel, to see if any discomfort arises, to see what emotion is evoked. Okay, you ready? You ready? Okay. Is there a relationship right now in your life that you need to heal? And you're just putting it off? Is there something that you really want to do or try that you're not because you don't want to fail or look dumb? Is there something where you really need to have your voice heard or speak up? In meetings, do you let comments that you could contribute just pass by because you don't want to be wrong or say something that might be silly? And right now in your life, are you living and working in your passion? Maybe even more importantly, have you done the hard work to figure out what that is and really live into it? So how does that feel? Is that hitting any triggers? Is that bringing up any discomfort? Well, if it is, I want you to welcome it. Bring it on. Invite it. Embrace discomfort every day. Get comfortable being uncomfortable every day. Listen, no matter what difficulty or challenge or fear you're trying to push through, or concern that you have, or insecurity that you're feeling, no matter what, you can push through it. You can do it. Consider this. Every one of us here, every one of us, has a 100% track record, a perfect score of getting through tough days. Undefeated. That's right. I hope that we can all get comfortable with being uncomfortable every day. I hope that we can welcome discomfort and find the power therein. And maybe most importantly, in keeping with the spirit of this conference, I hope that we do it on purpose.